Hello, you're on VITV with Into Vietnam News, broadcast on a daily basis. In the headlines, newly registered enterprises increased by 27.7% in January. New resolution cuts investment red tape. And $862 billion of the Realty Bailout Fund is disbursed as of January the 15th. According to the Ministry of Planning and Investment, in the first month of this year, there were about 6,900 enterprises established with total registered capital of $43.7 trillion, an increase of 27.7% increase in the number of enterprises and 79.5% of registered capital over the same period last year. The number of closed business reopening in January was 2,400, mainly from the two key economic regions of the Red River Delta and the Southeast. The ministry said, in general, enterprises are still facing many difficulties in production and business activities. The number of enterprises closed and suspended nationwide in January was 9,000, up 21.5% compared to the same period last year. In other news, according to the latest survey results released by the Vietnam Chamber of Commerce and Industry, or VCCI, on business optimism in 2014, there are approximately 50.7% of the companies surveyed planning to keep their business scale, 42.5% intending to expand their operation, and only 6.7% going to be downsized or suspended. The VCCI said investment environment as well as business confidence gradually improved, along with the commitment of the government to stabilize its policies, will likely to have attract more inflows of foreign direct investment and ODA loans, which will in turn support the value of domestic currency. Many unnecessary administrative procedures will be cut out when a new resolution on administrative procedure reform in investment projects is approved by the government.
The draft resolution, which was announced at the Ministry of Justice meeting in Hanoi recently, aims to simplify administrative procedures in investment projects and improve the business environment. It includes the abolishment of unnecessary and ineffective administrative procedures. The on-door policy will also be applied aggressively in these investment projects. Other measures on administrative procedures transparency will help prevent corruption and create trust for individuals and enterprises in investments and business activities. The number of administrative procedures that enterprises have to follow from the beginning to the implementation phase will be cut down from 34 to 22. Accordingly, the time frame will be reduced up to 50%. Individuals and enterprises thus can save up to 1.3 trillion Vietnam dong or $61 million every year. Administrative procedure fees in Vietnam ranks the highest in the world.
According to the latest report from the Housing and Real Estate Market Administration, Ministry of Construction, as of January the 15, 2014, $862 billion or 2.8% of the housing support package have been disbursed. In details, the State Bank of Vietnam has documents confirming registration of loan contracts for 15 businesses with 1.4 trillion dong, of which 380 billion dong have been disbursed to 8 businesses. For individual customers, 5 banks have had loans commitment to 1,994 customers with about 720 billion dong, of which nearly 482 billion dong have been disbursed. Earlier, Deputy Prime Minister Hoàng Trung Hải also directed the MOC to coordinate with relevant agencies to continue to implement policies on long-term credit and financial support for the development of social housing, low-price commercial housing and rental housing, especially speeding up the disbursement of the 30 trillion dong social housing support package. And now let's move on with other outstanding news from Ho Chi Minh City.
The banking sector in Ho Chi Minh City is developing measures to increase credit growth to 12 to 14% by strengthening links between banks and companies. The local sector would like to double its credit lines for enterprises to between 25 trillion dong to 30 trillion dong. In addition to priority sectors such as agriculture and rural areas, exports, small and medium-sized enterprises, and the support industry, local banks will also expand lending to many other sectors, particularly to enterprises that use high technology. The central bank has also given the green light to local commercial banks to create favorable conditions that would allow companies to use their receivables as mortgages in order to qualify for bank loans. Ho Chi Minh City has already licensed 15 new foreign direct investment projects totaling $19.9 million in January, up 15.4% in volume and 51.5% in value from a year earlier. The city also authorized $3.3 million in additional investment for 2 projects, bringing total FDI capital to $23.2 million, or 32.4% higher than January 2013. City authorities licensed 1,450 newly established businesses with registered capital of 7,000 billion dong.
Vietnam's steel industry might achieve 6 to 7% growth this year if the stagnant market is revived. This year, the Vietnam Steel Corporation has set a target of producing nearly 1.5 million tons of steel billets and 2.6 million tons of rolled steel, year-on-year rise of 24.5% and 8% increase respectively. The Vietnam Steel Association Chairman Hồ Nghĩa Dũng says the economic growth must reach 5.6 to 8% first, then the steel industry will be able to achieve 6 to 7% growth. In 2014, the Ministry of Industry and Trade will also introduce measures to resolve the difficulties facing the sector. It will work with the Ministry of Finance to help enterprises access more capital to promote their production and business. Two-way trade between Vietnam and India has grown and flourished over the years, and both countries are looking towards a $7 billion target in 2015. Vietnamese trade counselor to India says India is one of Vietnam's top 10 trade partners, and the latter is the foremost 4th largest trade partner within ASEAN. Bilateral trade increased threefold to $5.24 billion in 2013 from just $1.54 billion in 2007. Of the total, Vietnamese export generated $2.35 billion, up 13 times, and its imports were $2.88 billion, a twofold increase. Vietnam and India are increasing their trade ties through a host of measures, including finalizing the legal corridor for trade and investment facilitation. Vietnam and India established a strategic partnership in July 2007, and increasing bilateral trade is one of the 5 pillars in the strategic partnership. What's going to be the best investment channel in 2014? The question must strike an investor mind at the threshold of the new year. Some policy governors and economic experts share their viewpoint on this. More insights in the following report. From the viewpoint of policy governor, head of the State Bank Nguyễn Văn Bình said, in 2014, making deposits in banks remains a safe and effective investment channel. He says Vietnam has been successful in stabilizing domestic currency. In 2013, the Vietnam Dong US dollar rate fluctuated within a small margin of no more than 1%. Gold prices slumped by 25%, and interest rates stood at around 9%. These figures show that bank deposits is perhaps the best channel for investment.
Bởi vì lạm phát mà trên 7% có nghĩa rằng cái mức mà ngân hàng nhà nước đặt ra như vậy là không hấp dẫn. Người dân người ta còn cảm thấy là xao xuyến ngay. Và khi người ta đã xao xuyến trong cái chuyện này thì nhất định người ta sẽ tìm sang các cái công cụ khác để người ta đầu tư. Thị trường bất động sản thì bất động, các đồng chí thấy rồi, hồi phục cũng chưa phải là nhiều mặc dù có ấm lên. thì lập tức người dân sẽ tìm sang các công cụ láng giềng và hết sức là thân thiện. Đấy là ngoại tệ và vàng. Đúng không? Thế thì cái mà chúng ta đạt được trong thời gian vừa qua là chống đô la hóa, chống vàng hóa là cũng sẽ bị ảnh hưởng. Đấy. Thế cho nên là cái mục tiêu đặt ra và chúng ta đã cố gắng đến mức tối đa để thực hiện được cái lạm phát dưới 7%. Đó là một cái thành công rất lớn, không phải chỉ về kinh tế vĩ mô nói chung đâu, mà về điều hành chính sách tiền tệ.
Former governor of the central bank, Mr. Cao Sĩ-Kim, says it's difficult to identify the best investment channel in 2014, as each has its own degree of risk. The most stable and positive channel for investor at the moment is bank deposits. Talking about investment channel this year, experts said the realty market will remain frozen with an exception of low-cost segment. But this recovery is not enough to bring big profit for investors, as there are huge inventories in the sector. Gold is no longer appealing too. Both local and international experts forecast gold prices will not rise, if not to slump in the year. The dive of gold prices in the past year was not attractive enough to local people due to its high level of risk. In the context of bright macroeconomy and improved investor confidence, it's said that foreign funds will flow into Vietnam stock markets.
Kênh chứng khoán trong năm tới sẽ là một kênh hấp dẫn. Về thứ nhất, nó là cái định giá về chứng khoán trên thị trường nó cũng rất là tốt rồi. Thế và thứ hai là các cái dòng vốn bên nước ngoài sau khi người ta đã có một thời gian nghiên cứu thì người ta thấy bắt đầu người ta quay lại thị trường Việt Nam. Thế nhưng mà quan trọng như này là cái dòng vốn nước ngoài vào ấy, là cái dòng vốn gọi là FII ấy, thì nó là dòng vốn nóng, nó vào có thể ra rất là nhanh. Thế nên cái việc mà mình quản trị công ty như thế nào để cho mình tạo ra một cái niềm tin cho nhà đầu tư về lâu về dài thì là cái điều rất quan trọng.
Dr. Alan Phan shared the same view and said in 2014 the stock market will experience big waves and bring huge profits to investors.
Thì cái kênh chứng khoán có thể là cái kênh nó có thể là tạo ra những cái đợt sóng lớn. Thường khi mà đầu tư thụ động thì phải tùy vào những đợt sóng. Đợt sóng nó càng lớn thì mình càng kiếm tiền được. Thì tôi nghĩ là kênh chứng khoán sẽ là cái kênh mà sẽ có nhiều đợt sóng nhất. Còn bất động sản, vàng hay là lãi suất hay là ngoại hối thì tôi nghĩ nó chỉ là bình, nếu có lên có xuống không có nhiều.
According to Dr. Lê Xuân Nghĩa, strong investors should break their funds into many pieces, one of which should be put in bank deposits and other in stocks of strong listed companies on the market. These channels have moderate but ensured profits. The program will wrap up with local gold prices, forex and stock markets. Well, that's all for this edition of Into Vietnam. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy your day and bye-bye for now.